Mechanic near me. So when someone searches mechanic near me, they're usually not looking for the closest shop with an open bay. They're looking for help. They're looking for someone who can tell them the truth, explain things clearly, and help them make a smart decision without pressure. They are looking for a shop that understands auto repair is not just about fixing what failed. It's about protecting safety, preserving reliability, reducing stress, and helping people take care of a vehicle they depend on every day. That is what this search should really mean. Because when a vehicle starts making a noise, when the brakes do not feel right, when the check engine light comes on, when the steering wheel feels loose, or when the car just does not feel dependable anymore, the problem becomes emotional almost immediately. Now there's uncertainty, there's inconvenience, there's concern about safety, there's concern about whether you're going to be told the truth. There's concern about whether someone is going to take advantage of the fact that you do not know exactly what is wrong. And that is why the phrase mechanic near me should never be reduced to location alone. Yet convenience matters, proximity matters, getting your vehicle looked at quickly matters. But the deeper question is this: who near me will truly have my best interest at heart? That's the real question. And that is what separates a repair shop people merely use from a repair shop people actually trust. And I mean, seriously, what mechanic near me should actually mean is, something feels wrong. The light came on, the brakes do not feel right, the steering wheel feels soft, the engine is running rough, the vehicle is leaking something, life is busy, you need help fast. And that's understandable. But urgency can also lower standards, and that's where people sometimes end up in the wrong place. They choose based on distance, price, and who can say yes first, instead of choosing based on whether the shop actually communicates clearly, diagnoses properly, prioritizes honesty, and treats the customers with respect. A good mechanic near you is not just one who can get your vehicle in. A good mechanic near you is one who can help you understand what's wrong, why it happened, how serious it is, what needs to be addressed now, what can be planned for later, and how to make the best long-term decision for the vehicle. And that's a completely different standard. That is not pressure, that is guidance. That is not confusion, that is clarity. That's not transactional repair, that's relationship-based vehicle care. And that is exactly what many people are hoping to find, whether they know how to say it or not. And you got to trust your mechanic. They should not have to, people shouldn't have to understand the full interaction between the tires, the steering, the suspension, the alignment, the braking, the drivability, the cooling systems, the engine management, the electric faults, and maintenance intervals just to feel like they're making a safe, intelligent decision. That's not the customer's job. The customer's job is to explain what they are noticing. The shop's job is to bring process, knowledge, honesty, and communication to that experience. And that is where trust is built. Trust is not built because a shop says, we can handle that. Trust is not built because a shop explains what it found in a way that makes sense. Trust is built when the customer feels educated rather than cornered. Trust is built when recommendations are organized and prioritized instead of dumped all at once with no context. Trust is built when the customer feels that the shop is trying to help them think clearly, not manipulate them emotionally. That kind of trust changes everything. It reduces anxiety, it improves decision making, it helps customers take better care of their vehicles, it creates loyalty, it makes the repair experience feel less like a confrontation and more like a partnership. The good mechanic, they don't just fix the symptom. Anyone can focus on immediate complaint. The better shops look deeper. A vibration highway speed may not just be a tire. A brake wear may be connected to other system conditions. A drivability issue may not be solved by replacing the first part that seems likely. Poor cooling performance may be warning you about a larger issue. A steering problem may involve more than one worn component. A check engine light may not mean the first failed part is a true root cause. Most expensive problems do not start as emergencies. They start as small signals that are misunderstood, delayed, or handled without enough process. And that's why a customer first mechanic helps people avoid more than one broken part. They help the customer avoid repeated breakdowns, wasted money, or guesswork, poorly prioritized repairs, and emotional exhaustion that comes from never knowing whether the vehicle is actually being cared for correctly. A real professional does not just react to symptoms. A real professional works to understand causes. That matters because people do not want to keep paying for the same problem in different forms. They want the confidence that someone is looking at the vehicle with care, intelligence, and long-term perspective. The best mechanic near you helps you understand a priority. So when you're really talking about this stuff, and the shops that I'm, a part of understand something simple. It's about the customer. It's about the customer being informed. It's about the customer feeling comfortable. It's about the customer understanding that it costs less to maintain and repair this car, unless it's rusting around your ears, than it is to go buy a new or a used one. It's about making sure that you understand that your responsibility as the person owning the car or cars is that it costs, at minimum $3,000 a year on average to drive your car. And people just don't seem to understand that. And I'm talking about just for safety and repairs. I'm not talking about for car payments and depreciation and finance charges and insurance charges and tax things and registration things and all of the stuff, fuel. I'm talking about just safety and repairs. It's $3,000 if you're driving from 0 to 15,000 miles a year. Figure that's literally $3,000. It's 20 cents a mile. And it's when you figure in time versus mileage, then you're fixing your car or maintaining your car based on time and or mileage. So it's $3,000 a year on average. It won't be $3,000 every year. Some will be less, some will be more, but it's on average. And that's a realistic level of expectation. And the more that the prices go up, the higher that number is going to go, obviously. If you drive more than 15,000 miles a year, it's going to cost you more. That's life. That's the way it works. But that's what we get when we get to drive cars. And just understand that there's a lot of people that will act like they've got your best interest at heart. Actually get to know the shop that you're dealing with. Let them get to know you. And it'll only be proven over time as trust is developed between the two of you. Most shops are not out there taking advantage of people. They're just not. I've seen some recent, that it's literally less than 10% nowadays. That less than 10% of the quote shops out there are out there taking advantage of you, ripping you off. They used to do stings all the time with the news stations and all of this stuff. You don't see it very much anymore. You don't see it very much anymore because they're not catching people. It's not predominant like it was. The industry has cleaned itself up. The more that we're getting into technicians instead of mechanic, because you should be looking for technician near me, but technicians are across all fields. Mechanic, people associate with the automotive industry. That's why I said mechanic near me instead of technician near me. So, realistically, what you're looking at that point is you got to be a lot smarter nowadays to be working on cars. You just do. And smart across the board. So stay safe, stay strong.